First of all, Lamala, did you get any message from Jimmy Kinzer Muche?
No hemos recibido porque el mensaje se le mandó ayer o antes de ayer. Entonces estamos esperando la notificación pues ahora a principios de semana o así.
We are waiting, Rinpoche. We sent the
Okay.
letter and we are waiting. I think next week maybe we have news.
Solo tenemos la confirmación del LUN.
But the lung is confirmed. Now we are waiting for the confirmation of the teachings.
That's so good.
Es muy bueno esto.
That Rinpoche agreed to give us the oral transmission of the 21 Tara praises. Being the, I think Jimmy Kinzer Rinpoche being considered as the rebirth of Khyentse Chökyi Lodro and Khyentse Wangpo, and also the rebirth of Jigme Lingpa. By the way, Khyentse Wangpo was also considered as immediate rebirth of Jigme Lingpa, kind of like immediate rebirth. I think he recognized, was it that no, when Khyentse Wangpo was young, I think he met one of the students of Jigme Lingpa, and he called Jigme Lingpa's student with his secret name that only Jigme Lingpa himself could have known. And so I hear that when Jimmy Kinzer Rinpoche was conceived, his father, Gyabje Kanju Rinpoche, had a dream, what he says like a dream, but these people's dreams are not like our dreams. Where he met with Jigme Lingpa, and Jigme Lingpa, the omniscient Kunchen Jigme Lingpa, requested him, can I have can I come and spend some time? What is it called in English? I forgot. When you ask someone if you can stay with them for a while. And Konjo Rinpoche said, of course. And that's when Rinpoche was conceived. So, regardless, Jimmy Kinzer Rinpoche is visibly not just have a big name, but is very visibly is continuously practicing and teaching and guiding beings and saving the lives of beings and so on. So there is no doubt that Rinpoche is a great practitioner. At least in my mind, that he is a true Dharma practitioner. Something that is so rare these days. So I'm also receiving this together with you. I have lots of devotion to Rinpoche. And although I keep failing to follow his advices, he doesn't seem to be disappointed with me yet. So that's something I guess something to be happy for myself. Of these people here, I think can most be there in person in Sangchen Nobuling? I guess.
Yo no podré ir, Rinpoche, este año,
Oh,
pero como
that's
va a continuar, iré el otro año.
a
Fabiola
shame.
is coming next year, Rinpoche. She can't come this year.
Okay.
Yo no sé si podré todavía, no lo tengo seguro.
I will
Okay.
go.
Hay bastante interés, pero para muchas personas todavía no, bueno, tienen que hacer un poco de esfuerzo más para que se cumpla. Pero hay bastante interés por lo que hemos comentado antes.
Yes, some people show a lot of interest, and other people still have to do an effort in order to organize everything. But everybody is trying to come, Rinpoche.
Yeah. Okay. Lorena, you said we finished until stanza 33rd. So until the 32nd we finish. Okay. Oh, the wealth of noble beings. Okay. Thirty-fourth, the preceptor of God and men said that satisfaction is the most excellent among all riches. So always be satisfied. If content through possessing no wealth, one is truly rich. Nornam kunji nana choshe ba rapcho labar lami tembe sung kundu choshe zuchi choche na norme doda yanda jabala. This is easy to understand anyway. Contentment, being content is rich, being rich. What is it? We think that possession is being rich, having a lot of possession. Whereas clearly, merely having possession doesn't mean that you will be happy, you will be joyful, that you will have a better life. This doesn't mean that possession makes you suffer, not at all. Possession does things, but it also takes away many things. I remember when growing up in India, no one had money in our village. Everyone was fine. We don't have money even to build boundaries. So houses had no real boundaries. So people would go in and out all the time. Sometimes we would go to and go and rent houses in Indian cities and towns. And of course, my parents were not rich, so the houses would be basically like slums. But then once you're there, people are curious. They ask you who you are, where you from. As a child, you get everybody will take care of each other. They take care of each other, and there is more human interaction. I remember the neighbors would just take away my youngest sister, one of my younger sister. She was at that time, I think 2 or 3, very young. So the neighbors would just take her away. Neighbor ladies would come and pick her up. We don't know where she is. When she's falling asleep, they'll bring her back. Or when she soils her pants, they bring her back. Like that. There was so much trust and friendship, I believe. Now when I go to, just last year, I was in South India to my village, and there is so much less. People have money now. There are big buildings and boundaries. You have to sort of shout from the gate because they have dogs, and it's not nice. You cannot just walk into someone's home, like knock on their door. It's like, cannot do that anymore. It's a different thing. It's a different, I don't know. You think that, oh, the idea of having a personal space is a good thing. Actually, it makes us imprisoned. So imprisoned. Sometimes it's good, but more than sometimes it's not good. Wealth, whose purpose is to bring us happiness, joy, to help us. Many times it ends up creating more issues to our society, to our family, and ourselves as an individual. You want to know something interesting? Even to Dharma centers, you know who donate more? Those who don't have much. Those who are rich, they don't donate much. It's very strange. It's really strange to see this. Those who are like kind of okay, you know, living to paycheck, sometimes more generous. So being a wealthy person is not the same as being a rich person. For here, he says, rich person is someone who is at peace, who is content, who is joyful, happy. Not a lot they may have, or maybe they have a lot of things, but their joy is not bound to wealth. Their joy is more bound to their sort of mind, mostly, the way they are in this world, the way they are to their family, the way, you know, and their understanding of things, their beliefs. So Nagarjuna says, the Buddha have said that one who is content is rich. And if you can be content, now he's talking to the king, because a king is someone who has a lot. And when you have a lot, a lot of the things in this world is then not enough for you when you have a lot. We can see that in our own lives, the way your mind is changing. The more you have, the more intolerant you become. Entitled, that's the word, entitled, entitlement. So being content, this is really important. This doesn't mean don't do anything, no need to have wealth, not at all. You should have wealth. But you should also understand that this is not the true source of your happiness and joy. It is more like a water, like a water. If you don't have water, you will not survive. But you shouldn't always just try to, because your survival depends on water, you try to build a huge dam and try to own it just for me. No one can have. This is stupid. Just one mouth to drink water from. There is a limited amount of water you can drink in a day, or water that you can swim in. Very similar to that. Wealth is a necessity. And so you pursue it, but understanding that it is a mere necessity. If you wouldn't need wealth to survive, you wouldn't have to pursue it. That already reduces it to bare necessity, to mere necessity, sorry, being a mere necessary substance to live in this world, but not the most important thing. Although we say this, if you say this, everybody will agree. Most people will agree. Most Buddhists would definitely agree. But the thing is, wealth comes with habits. There's a lot of habit of wealth. You know one habit? I know you will not like this. Clean. Everything is so clean. Clean street. Clean. I know, see, you immediately will think, yes, but disease is cleanliness and this and that, or orderly. Everything is orderly. Everything works. Things work as they should work. Also, an extension of this attachment to wealth. Well, then, so here he says, even though you're not wealthy, you are rich. If you have chokshe, chokshe is contentment. Actually, chokshe is not, I don't know if it's exactly contentment, but chokshe means knowing the limit. Chokshe, but knowing the limit. Knowing the limit of when it is enough. This is enough. When you have the idea, this is enough. What I have is enough. Such a person is rich. Such a person is, even though they don't have wealth, they're rich. Or they're wealthy without having wealth. Teba toma jidar dungal ba deba chungnam teda mala de luchonam la go jinye ba tele chungwe dungal tenye tos. Now this is true. Next stanza. O gracious king, just as the most excellent of Nagas suffer in accordance with the number of heads he has acquired. Just so one suffers in accordance with the number of properties acquired. However, it is not so for one with few desires. I don't know how it is translated into Spanish, but I may have to make a clarification here with this translation. So he's talking to the king. He's saying, "O king, however much wealth you have, that much potential of suffering you will have. And however less you have, or however less attachment you have, those who are less attached, he's not saying less wealth, he's saying those who are less attached is not like this. And the example he gives is, however many head the Nagas may have, he's referring to snakes, basically snakes. So Indian mythical creatures like snakes with 7 head, 5 head, 2 head, like that. So more heads you have, more suffering you might have. You might not be able to go into a hole that is enough for 1 head snakes. And you know what I mean. So more head, more suffering. Similarly, the more wealth you have, there is potential of more suffering. In the translation, it says, just as the most excellent of Nagas suffer in accordance with the number of heads he has acquired. It's not acquired. They have. They're born with that. 7 head, 3 head, 4 head, 2 heads. Supposedly, like, I don't think they have only 1 head and they work hard and get 2 head and then 3 head. I don't think that's the meaning. So it's not acquired, has. They have. However many possessions we have, the potential of more suffering, more damages. Avoid these 3 kinds of wives. One who, like an executioner, is naturally associated with the enemy. One who, like a queen, disrespects the husband. And one who, like a thief, steals even small things. Rangshin darde shema tabutang, chimtab niji jemo tabutang, chungu ko chungun tabutang, chumosumbu to the number pangs. So talking to the king. Now I guess this refers to, he's talking to the king, so he's talking about the woman. And you as a woman should understand this as men, if you are into men. If you are a homosexual woman, oh, then this this applies to you too, I guess. And it's okay. Don't change anything. Exactly, you can understand. But if you're not if you're just normal, you know, I don't know what is, I shouldn't have said normal. I should say boring. If you're just a boring, just heterosexual male and female, so, you know, if you're female, then you understand it as men. So here, rather than saying abandon these 3 kinds of wives, you should understand abandon these 3 kinds of men. So with the Nagarjuna, there is also a lot of, in India, also I'm sure in all tradition actually, there is this system of politics and also how to rule kingdom. It's called Scriptures of Kings, where how to rule a kingdom. All the advices is here, how a son should behave, how a daughter should behave, how, you know, there's all these structures. And here, if, especially a king, if the king's queen is like a spy, that's not good. It's going to bring the entire kingdom down, also the king. Or like a spy who is really secretly fooling the king or fooling the man, or if as a man is secretly sort of harming the partner, that's terrible, the woman or whatever, man to man. And then the other one is very disrespectful, very so disrespectful that the king himself is like a servant, and the sort of the wife is so he has no say in the relationship. That's terrible, you know. He says that's not good. And then there's third one is like a thief, steals things. That one definitely not good. I don't know, what else do you want me to explain to this? So we move to the next stanza. You wouldn't want such a man or a woman anyway, so what else is the next? 띵모따브로 지틴 강인당 자모시도 닝라 파바다 마신 펜버드단 데모신 왕줄 강 리치 라신 코르스. The types of wife. Oh, now I am not going to pretend and say, oh, you know, there is not a little bit of hint of, what do you call it, patriarchy here. Sure, must be. He's talking to a man, a king no less, more than 1,000 years ago. So, you know, I don't know. I cannot say no. What I can say is that this is not what Nagarjuna really thinks. That's for sure. But to appeal to that king, I don't know. There could be some that tone. Either way, why do people respect kings and queens these days? So stupid. I understand in Bhutan because it's still going on, but what about the rest of the world? Denmark have king and queen and princess, this and that. Like, what's the deal? Didn't you guys fight hard to get rid of all that? So stupid. I remember some Germans telling me they're so sad the queen died. I said, what is no nonsense? You know, the English queen died. That's sometimes people can say strange things. I know some of you you were sad when the queen died. Maybe cried a little bit. Wow. Here, he says the kind of partner one should have. He says you should worship such a woman like a god, like a Riki La is like, how to say, yeah, family deity, family deity, like basically like a family deity. One who is kind to you like a sister, but who is also a good friend. But and who is looking out for you, who wishes to benefit you like a mother. And then when it comes to serving you, they behave like a servant. They're not servant, but behave like a servant. Like bring you things, this and that. To such a person, you should revere them, worship them like Lash and Kur. You should respect them like a family god, that kind of type. Same goes with men and women both. This kind of thing, he's talking to a king who is also a Dharma practitioner. Oh gosh, we waste so much time, so much time. This way, the monks and nuns have the upper hand. They don't have to deal with partners, the mood of the partner. What you said 3 days ago is going to make them angry today. It's like, oh. So to be careful in choosing the right partner for a practitioner is extremely important. For everybody is important, but for practitioners is important. Kazemen na dawa rigbayo dojashidam me bertenjide jachir mala nyimchir mala nyimbichir mala tsakchir mala lune bashi chirs understood food to be like medicine. What? Understood. 38. Understand food to be like medicine. Neither understanding the food to be like medicine, use it without any desire or aggression. Not for the purpose of, or not due to pride or beauty, just so that you can maintain your body, in order to maintain the body. This is very general advice, also coming from Vinaya, where the monks are taught how to take everything as path. Sleeping, you take as a path to understand that as long as you have a healthy body, you have a healthy mind, and you can practice. Similarly with food. In the Vinaya, it is said, if there is food, there is body. If there is body, there is life. If there is life, there is dharma. So food is, how to say, used as a means to practice dharma. So to practice, how to say, to treat it like that. Some people can do that. It's a very different mindset, this one. You can even eat the same kind of food. You can give the same kind of food to these people who think like that. They don't mind. It's just to survive. We are not like that. Most of us, some of us. Oh, yesterday I had bread. Now I should have something else. Oh, maybe I should go out. Maybe something, Italian. I don't know, So that is now you are eating not to survive, but for enjoyment. So he's saying this to the king. Do not do that. And to us too, by extension. Ribidani nimbar tada da semotunji to me deneni nal sean dewu mebr mejurba tenda dember tada parto no. Oh, righteous one, after usefully spending the whole day and the beginning and the end of the night, mindfully sleep only in the middle. So even the time of sleep will not be fruitless. This is easy to understand. So basically throughout the day, spend your days with mindfulness, awareness, and usefully. And to not just jump into the bed like animal, but to have an evening session, so to speak. And then I guess we need at least 7 hours of sleep. Most people need at least 7 hours of sleep. So from from about 9 or 10 p.m. Now, if you really listen to Nagarjuna's advice, it's like that. From maybe around 10 p.m. you sleep, or 11, was it 9 p.m. you sleep, and then you wake up around 4 or 5 a.m. Still night. And that part you also practice. So only the middle part of the night you go to sleep. Yeah. So in this way, your sleep will also be fruitful. And he says, not, oh, sorry. And then he says, and also not only the nighttime is useful then, but also during your sleep with mindfulness. He said, sleep mindfully. So then the advice is many times you have is one is that to sleep so that your body can rest and you can practice more tomorrow. But then also to sleep with the joyful mind, thinking tomorrow I can practice. Sleep with rejoicement of having practiced today, or sleep with regret of not having practiced today. So everything is molded towards one, that is to practice Dharma. Then 참나 ninje tabdan gawada tanyam takdo yanda gomzuchi kaumanye par majur teta na sambe jikdin dewa tobar jurus. Oh, sorry. I was reading the 41st stanza now. So what kind of translation is this? 40th. Always meditate rightly on love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And even if the supreme state is not gained in this way, still the happiness of the world of Brahma will be attained. And here, something is your semi comfortable manism jelamine dewa do bich champat na do wala do bang chiba dewa semi gita dene me Wow. If you ever read Rongton commentary, it's a great Saktaba master. He goes on into talking about the meditation on the four immeasurables and talking about the three kinds of compassion and also anyway, for now, G is the four immeasurables, which is may all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and cause of suffering. May all beings never be separated from happiness without suffering. May all beings experience equanimity away from attachment and aggression towards near and far. Fourth, when you practice these four, of course, the best result will be nirvana, awakening. But even if you do not get nirvana, you will get the samadhis of the first formless realm, second or third, fourth, like that, and could get rebirth in Brahma realms, form realms. Of course, that's not the aim. Or while you're alive, you could have this perfect shamatha, that is the meditation of the first Brahma realms. So this is a kind of mental state which can be used to practice emptiness. Then dejo gada deda dungal tha number pang be samde shiboi changda wasal tha dang gi jeta de chelan nanda kanyam tops having given a pleasure, joys, and sufferings of the realm of desire by means of four concentrations, the fortunate levels of the gods Brahma, Abhasvara, Subhaktrasna, and Bhratphala will be obtained. Now he's talking about the samadhis, the four samadhis that one can gain in the practice of samatha. We are in the form realm. Our world is called desire realm. So this is the realm where beings' main motivation is desire. And then there is a realm called form realm, where beings who manage to get rid of the desire are born. And there, there's four stages of form realm. So in the first stage, you abandon like physical, suffering. And the second stage, mental suffering. Third stage, physical joy. Fourth stage, even mental joy is abandoned. So like that. If you have these four, the name of these four are Brahma realm, the first stage of form realm. Second stage of form realm, Abhasvara, and like that. These are four stages. We can talk about it, but the topic is so big, I don't know where to start. Just to know that this is the progression in samsara. So in samsara, those who accumulate merit are reborn in higher realms. those who manage to not only accumulate merit, but also get rid of desire go to form realms. Those who accumulate merit, get rid of desire, and also get rid of form goes to formless realms. It's like this stage of 3 realms. From the foundation of these 5 great factors, persistence, intention, unopposed, endowed with qualities, and beneficiaries, virtuous and non-beneficiaries, virtuous and non-virtuous deeds arise. Therefore, strive to do virtuous actions. These are only 4. I need to read the commentary. So what decides a karma to be stronger, a good karma to be stronger? You have many good karmas in your life, but what makes some of the karma strong and some of the karma less strong? Similarly with bad karma. What are the deciding factors? So he said these decide whether a karma will be stronger or not, and depending on karma being stronger or not, they will give result earlier or not. So due to these 5 causes, the results of the karma are decided, or the greatness or heaviness of karma is decided. And they are jorwa sambada nyambu na yi kebar le chijung to juros da chang tela jorwe kebar ni chewa ni le de ta do cheba da sambe kebar mo jin tabu cheba na nyambu kebar mi dun chola kilela jumje gi nyambu me pa shi kebar ni de pendo bi shi ni pama ta chuma wa. First one is something that is done over a long period of time will have a stronger karma than something that is done once. Due to sheer habit, due to repetition, whatever the karma may be, good karma or bad karma, if it is repeated again and again and again, it becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. So that one makes it stronger. Then the second one is what is it? Depending upon your motivation, how much you grasp and how you grasp. If you grasp with a lot of devotion, it's a good karma and a strong good karma. If you grasp strongly out of aggression, so or grasp maybe not a good way, but you can think what is your intention at that time and how strong are the intention. Stronger the anger, more heavier the karma. Stronger the joy and devotion and sincerity and compassion, more stronger the karma. So motivation depends. First, it depends on if it is done every day. Second, it depends on how strong the motivation. Then, third is it has is not having an antidote, something that is just too strong, that it cannot be obstructed, that kind of karma. Then the fourth is depending on the object of the karma. If it is something good done to someone who is just a normal person, or someone who is like your parents or your dharma teacher, then that, how to say, is a stronger karma than whether it is good or bad. If you do something good to your parents, do something good to someone else, the one, the karma to your parents is stronger. If you do something bad to your parents or your dharma teacher, then to someone else, the same bad things, the karma will be heavier. Bad karma. And then the last one is those who are with great qualities, like the triple gem. Even though they're not your parents, even though they're not your teacher, but if you do something against the triple gem, whether it will be a terrible karma. If you do something for triple gem, it will be a great karma, good karma. This is the strongest. I think the way this goes, the strongest one is the fifth one, something you do to triple gem. Then the parents and teachers, dharma teachers. And then comes the karma that cannot be stopped, like killing your parents and so on. These are unstoppable karma. And then the one with intention. And the last one is that which you do every day. So in strength goes like this. The first one is the weakest, I think. So he advises, please, knowing this, accumulate merit and abandon negative karma. Lensa sange chuni nyungu chik rojur jiji gange lungmen tartejin dikpe leni chungu yang gewe tsa yang la kembra geese. Understand that a small measure of salt changes the taste of a little water while not that of the Ganga river. Similarly, a small sinful deed will not spoil a vast root of virtue. So, but then, of course, to survive, to be alive, you do so many things that are negative. Even unintentionally, you might end up stepping on bugs and insects and so on, and especially as a king. There may be so many negative karma that you may be accumulating without knowing. And so to antidote that, to accumulate so much merit that your negative karma becomes like a pinch of salt. So a pinch of salt may be able, if you have only water as much of a half of this cup, then that pinch of salt can change the taste. Similarly, if you don't have much virtuous karma, then even a small negative karma can bring so much harm. But just as a pinch of salt cannot change the taste of a river, if you have so much virtuous karma, then even if once in a while you have negative karma, it cannot overpower you. So more virtuous karma you can accumulate, the better. And you should accumulate more, because negative karmas happen by and by. So this is what. Godan, Gödan, Nusi Mukbadan, Idan, Dola Dunda, Tetsum, the Dibangabo, the Gavin or Tobo Chungin Labar Chamber. So these are really advices for meditators too. 44th, be aware that these 5 obscurations are thieves which steal the wealth of virtue: insolence and regret, harmful thoughts, apathy and sleepiness, attachment and doubt. Gödan, Gödan, Nusim Tas. Goju. Gopa. Gopa is being sort of uncontrolled, just following whatever your wish is and doing whatever you want. That is gopa. Jopa is regret, regretting having done something good, regretting having made offerings. This happens, especially if you make an effort to make a lot of offering that, and later, oh, you need it and you regret, why did I offer that to the temple, to the guru, to the, like that. Jopa. These two, one, they destroy the karma, positive karma. They're like thieves that steals the wealth of virtue. Similarly, harmful thoughts. Oh, easy to understand. Of course, harmful thoughts are bad. What can steal positive karma sooner than a harmful thought? Nothing. Then mukbadans. Mukbadani meaning mukba is just being dull, sort of. You're kind of awake, but you're not really attentive. Mukba. And ni is actually sleeping and being attached to that. That also takes away your virtue. Then this, of course, is not saying you shouldn't sleep, but excessive attachment to sleep. Dela dunda tesum tes, dela dumba is running after desire. So that, and then the last one is doubt. Doubting dharma, doubting practice, doubting oneself and one's own mind, doubting karma, having a doubt. This is not this kind of healthy doubt that is unbiased and thinking that, that has like a seeking mindset. Not at all. This is the kind of doubt that that doesn't really seek to find an answer, but it obstructs positive karma. Like, let's say you want to do a retreat, but then you hear someone say, oh, what's the point of retreat? You have to tame your mind, then you can do without retreat. And then you don't do the retreat and you doubt, right? going to do like that, very simple like that. You're not going to analyze it further, but you're also not going to do retreat. So neither here nor there. Anyway, these are so easy, but the text is like that. Most of it is meant for everybody to understand. Assiduously perform the 5 most excellent practices: faith, energy, mindfulness, trance, wisdom. These are called strength, power, and also the attained summit. Oh gosh, and also the attained summit. Well, the supreme dharma are these 5, or through these 5 you will attain supreme dharma. So please practice this. Devotion. You need devotion. Devotion is another name of trust. When you trust something, when you trust a spiritual path or a sacred sort of this kind of path, it's become devotion. Sundu is diligence. Sundu diligence, here it refers to having a joyful, willing mind to do the right thing, to do the practice, to have this willingness. That's Sundu. Temba, awareness, mindfulness, all kinds of mindfulness, all the meditation you can understand here. And simplest, remembering your practice, remembering and not forgetting what you are supposed to do and what you should be doing, Temba, or watching, being aware of your body, speech, and mind is Temba. Then thing is in meditative concentration. When you meditate, here they translate as trance, so like a trance, meditative concentration, where your mind enters a place where it's sort of very one-pointed and cannot be distracted. So that, and sharp is the wisdom. So these 5 are strength, he says, and these 5 will take you to the pinnacle of wisdom, pinnacle of or out of samsara, let's say. Naga chiduk dalda teshin tu lela thagir che le madeshe tetar yanda semba nei ti nyembe gune jabi jorus. Thus, actions done by oneself are the cause of not passing beyond disease, old age, death, and separation from the dear. Arrogance will not arise by means of the corrective of this repeated thought. So how to, now he says you must have devotion, you must have diligence, and so on, these 5. So then in the commentaries, Rongton write how to have these or how to get rid of the obstacle to having devotion and diligence, so on, is Dhagir chebale made so she yang tether yang to Japan sembani Japan la sobte nyimbo imbe. To abandon pride, which is the obstacle of attaining the 5 powers. Naga chiduk daldan teshin do leni dhagir chele madeshi. Accepting your own karma. That right now I am in a position. I'm in an existence where the sickness is possibility, also old age and death. And also it is very possible that I can separate from my loved ones, families, and everybody that I care of, everybody who care of me. It is very possible that it can happen anytime. Similarly, all the karma, most importantly, the negative karma that I have accumulated will ripen upon myself and no one else. In this way, he says, accept these faults. If you do that, you will not be arrogant. When you are aware of your faults, you do not become arrogant. And this will benefit in your meditation, not hinder meditation. And when you're not arrogant, then you can have devotion and so on. The commentary is not clear on this, but anyway. The Nimbuguni, Kalde Tori Tarbangun Shena, Yandata la Komba Nidu, Kansa Loberta will leg, Tamjet number member Mize Dens. Okay. Follow the right view if heaven and liberation are desired. For even persons doing meritorious deeds through the wrong view will have all terrible results. Now here, the importance of having the right view, because even if you have the right meditation, if you do not have the right view, there is no liberation. View is the name given to the realization of the truth, the reality, whatever the reality may be, the ultimate truth. So here, basically he's saying, even if you have devotion, even if you have diligence, even if you have meditation and so on, but if you do not have the view, you will not get out of samsara and eventually fall down. Not only that, if you have the wrong view, it can even end very bad. Mini yandani the midishi mida dame meza rubarji. Chamba nyavar ma ajab namji ni chinchi lo jirta wa pungtul vas. Pungtul wa. Know that in reality, human beings are unhappy, impermanent, devoid of self, and impure. Those who forsake mindfulness are ruined through wrongly viewing these four. Mini yandani to dungal tang. Mini yandani to meditation, meta dame mitsang rubarjis. So generally, the cause of samsara is ignorance. That's what it is said, ignorance, unawareness. And furthest we go to is the self-grasping sometimes. But one of the first is to get to that point where you can actually think about selflessness, and thinking about selflessness brings change in your mind. First, you need to get rid of other kinds of ignorance too, like the ignorance of permanence. We have this ignorance of permanence. I was there yesterday, I am here today, I will be there in the future. So it feels like I was always there. You were always there, yesterday, today, tomorrow. So this is a sense of permanence that has to be destroyed, or else selflessness cannot be real. Because the sense of permanence keeps the self safe. It is like a pillar of self-grasping, idea of permanence. Similarly, idea of desirable, clean, something clean, desirable. Whatever that is desirable, we will think is clean. Think about it. Something that you think is very, very clean, someone else will look at it and it's so dirty. Like those smelly cheese some people eat. They're so desirable for them. The others are so dirty. They will wash their hands as soon as they touch it. Where you will sort of lick your fingers. Alcohol, the same thing. Saliva of your loved ones. Oh, so desirable. This is from Shantideva, by the way, not me making it up. Whereas for someone else, it's just the disgusting is saliva of somebody. Desirable, not desirable. This idea, but generally this idea of desiring something, and when it is desirable, when you have desire, and then you think that that phenomena is not dirty, thinking that it is something clean to your own body. You just wash it and you think it's very clean. So this has to be removed. And then more importantly, the idea that it can be fixed, that the nature of life is happiness. You can have a happy life. It's there somewhere and you will get it one day. And that, he says, have to be removed. To understand that life is, the very nature of life is that it is not happiness. If the nature of life is happiness, then do not do anything. Just live and then you should be happy, but it's not. You must do a lot of things to be happy. But to be unhappy, you don't have to do anything. Matter of fact, just don't do anything. Then you'll become very unhappy. So that's have to be removed these days. And selflessness, of course. So anyway, so these four, O king, you must contemplate, because those who do not contemplate on these four, they wreak havoc in this world. They bring a lot of suffering to themselves and others. So those who have wrong views, they suffer. Yeah. Zul ne dama in si sung de tha, su da me den zul a thane min thala zu me ne te tejin to pumbu lama shi ya tong to ki Pumbo Duja lemon, 2 lemon, Tangshin lemon, Ngon, Yi lemon, Wangshu lemon, Jimenchen Minte, Mishe Leda Sele Jungrik Zeus. The next 2 stanzas. Thus, it has been said, the form is not self, the self does not possess the form, the self does not dwell in the form, and the form does not dwell in the self. In this manner, also understand the 4 remaining aggregates as empty. 50th stanza. Know that the aggregates originated from okay. It's not that the aggregates originated. It is know that the aggregates did not originate intrinsic character God, nor without cause. But from ignorant deeds and craving. So there's some English translation, selflessness now. So the most important view being that of selflessness. Yes, viewing samsara as suffering is important, impermanence is important, but the most important is selflessness. Because if you understand selflessness, all the rest can sort of come in line. Liberation can be attained. So he's talking about selflessness. So what do we have? Usually when we say me, I, or self, what do you think of? First thing is the body. You look at the body. When you think about somebody, you think someone named Norman. When you think of Norman, immediately first thing appears is the face, the body, physical structure. So our first attachment from the 5 aggregates is towards the form. So he talks about the form. He's saying, but in that case, is Norman form? You know, is the self form? Am I form? There he argues. He says, my form is not me. And I feel like that. I say my form. I do not say I as a form, but I say my form. So it's something that I have, but it is not me. So my form is not me. But it is also not that I have a form, because to say I have a form, you have to find me first. So that until that is not found, you cannot say I have a form. It's like to build something, you first must have a ground where you can build something. That. Then, not only that, a form is not like a foundation where the self exists, upon which self exists. That also is not, because you cannot show it. Where is it? Is it in the head, the body, in the skin, the bones, sinews, hair, nails, where? And form does not exist upon self also. It doesn't make sense. Then what is this self? That is not the form. That is not the sensation. That is not the rest of the aggregates. So immediately he says, right after that, he says, also understand the rest of the 4 aggregates as the form, or 4 aggregates to be empty of the self. So the reason why is that because usually when we think of ourselves, sometimes we think our form as ourselves. Sometimes we think our mind as ourselves. Sometimes we think that all of this is ourselves. Sometimes we think all of this is possessed by the self. So the identity of the self keeps shifting based on different, or the understanding or the belief of the self keeps shifting. So he's making these different analysis address all that shift. And not only that, the self is devoid of, the 5 aggregates are devoid of self. There is no self. Even the 5 aggregates themselves, when you analyze, they are also empty in nature. They are not made, how to say, they don't happen by chance. They're not made by time. They're not made by nature. This nature is there's a school who believe that nature creates everything, and this nature is not the trees and the rivers and the rocks that we think as nature these days. This nature is like, you can also almost understand it like an energy type, that which creates everything. Also, it is not created by some sort of an ultimate truth, ultimate reality. Also, it is not created by themselves or God, or things do not happen by itself, these 5 aggregates. So where do the 5 aggregates come from? They come from they come from ignorance, they come from karma, and they come from craving. These 3 are the first, second, second, and the 8th links of 12 links dependent origination. Okay. Sorry, I cannot talk today. I can hear myself. Well, let's look at some question. How do we realize where our attachment originates? Let me explain. In this world, as a layperson, in order to survive, we need to cover our needs: food, clothing, shelter, even security from a lot of violence. So as a Dhamma practitioner, how can I realize that I'm attached? Are there any symptoms that can help me examine myself and work on my attachment? Attachment itself is easy to detect. If removing something makes you sad, you have attachment to that. Usually it's like this. Necessity does not mean you're not attached. It's a less attachment, but you're still attached. Indulgence is being overly attached now. We are already attached, and that is why here it says the human life is by nature suffering, because we start with attachment. Our parents must have sex, attachment. And our bardo consciousness have to get attached to the parents to enter the body. And it is also looking for our bodies. So attachment. Our very beginning of life starts with attachment. That already is enough to put us in samsara. On top of that, what stops us from nirvana is an overindulgence, what we usually do. So if you want to know, how do I know I am attached to something? If removing that thing brings you pain here, that's attachment. It's like that, I think. But there are things that we can live without and things we must have to survive and to be in a society. So in this way, if we divide into, okay, I'm attached to everything, but some of the things I must have, and some of the things I don't need to have, but because of these, I cannot even practice, so I can remove those. So it's between a lesser evil, you know what I mean, lesser evil, like that. Self-diagnose. How can I self-diagnose? You have to watch your mind. Find yourself being too attached. This one is important to watch because it's sometimes you think you're practicing, but actually you're not. Sometimes you think you're protecting dharma and so on, but you're just protecting yourself. So it's tricky. Being able to take criticism is a good training. We cannot take criticism because we're too attached to the way things we want them to be. We're too attached to name, too attached to being accepted. I think the Lama that I think can really take criticism is Songsa Khyentse Rinpoche. He seemed to even thrive on criticism. He likes it when people criticize. Many years ago, I was also a little bit like that when people criticize, when I hear someone is saying bad things about me. I used to get excited, like, oh, let's see what is going to happen now, you know. But nowadays, when I hear someone criticizing me, I get so hurt and worried about my image, attachment. Yeah, like that. It's very. This is just. It's just how it is. Attachment is just basically anything that exists, we have attachment to that. Just understanding this. And now you have to choose between a lesser attachment and a bigger attachment. Most of the time is this. We are even attached to Buddhahood. So, yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Hmm. the 12 links of dependent origination that he mentions here, only the first three, no, sorry, only three. That is the most important three, which is first is the ignorance or unawareness. From unawareness, you accumulate karma, which is the second, the formation karma. So these two, when you have with unawareness, you accumulate karma. And so the seed of karma remains in your mind. And you're living your life. One day, a craving arises. That craving awakens that seed of karma, and then it gives result. So it's like that. So I'm making it very short right now, but what is, for example, you accumulate out of ignorance, you accumulate karma to be born in a, I guess the most easiest, one of the most easiest is out of karma, out of ignorance, you accumulate karma to be born in a hungry ghost, like that, hungry ghost realm. And at the time of death, you experience a lot of hunger. Or even if you don't experience hunger, you wish for food, something that you liked, and that is unfulfilled. That's how you die. And so that wish is craving, and that will awaken that karma to be born in hungry ghost, which is there. It will not have ripened if this wish wouldn't have appeared. Because this wish appeared, that happens and you're born hungry ghost. Or out of ignorance, you accumulate karma to be born in a burning hell realm. And so at the time of death, you're very cold and you wish for warmth and you think about fire and this kind of thing. What we do when we're cold, we think about fire. You die like this, next life, your birth is in a burning hell, like that. So this craving is bringing birth. It's awakening the karma. Anyway, then could you tell us a little bit about three types of compassion? Three types of compassion is, so the first kind of compassion is looking at sentient beings who are visibly suffering, whose suffering is visible. War, hunger, fire, cold. And you feel compassion for them. That's the first kind of compassion. Compassion by having sentient being as your object. You're looking at a sentient being, at the being themselves. The second one is compassion for the beings to be impermanent. They're impermanent, they're changing. And so you have compassion for that because they're attached to permanence, but they're changing. They want permanence, they want something that is stable, that will not change, that is good. But what they have, what they are, is impermanent, it's to change. And so seeing that, you have compassion to them. The third is selflessness. You look at the selfless nature of the being, having no true self. And yet, this being that has no true self has convinced itself that it has self and is doing a lot of things and also suffering a lot. And so you feel immense compassion. It's almost like, imagine, yeah, these days we can understand now, AI, robot, begin to think that they are human being. And then they are worried about falling in love and all that. And they're suffering a lot. They're complaining, I have so much pain, what do I do? And so you look at them as selfless objects, selfless things that feels a lot of suffering. You have compassion towards them. Something similar to that. But Buddhas and Bodhisattvas look at us as selfless, dream-like, illusory things. And yet we complain a lot of suffering. And so they have compassion. This kind of compassion, I don't think is like a feeling compassion. You know, feeling compassion is the first one, and the second one maybe not the third. Third one is more so that from the wisdom, you see the emptiness of beings. And through that, you help them. I think there's a difference.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Welcome. Sudim Tushu chosen Rangrula, Chinchi Loberta than Tesum de Kundu Juro Disum Tarbai Tonger Gogi Loba Timber Zoo. These are actually very profound. But yeah, when presented like this so soon and the way we are studying is so fast, I don't think it is really entering into our mind. And today it's a very auspicious day today. Today is the anniversary of Parinirvana of Manjushri Lothar Wangpo, Jamgon Lothar Wangpo. Jamgon Lothar Wangpo is said to be the rebirth of a student of Jizun Trapa Jelsen. He actually met Jizun Trapa Jelsen a couple of times, but he didn't recognize that it was Jizun Trapa Jelsen. Only later he understood that there was Jizun Trapa Jelsen. Jamgon Lothar Wangpo lived, I think, maybe 200 years ago, like that, 150, 200 years ago. The main student of Khyentse Wangpo, Chaman Khyentse Wangpo, and of course many other great Sakyapa masters and Kajun Nyingma masters. He received also teaching from Jamgon Mipham Rinpoche and Jamgon Kongtrul Rinpoche. And at the advice of Jamgon Khyentse Wangpo, he compiled the Dupthap Kuntu. Jamgon Lothar Wangpo is said to be the emanation of Vajrapani. And he was also one of the main teachers of Jamgon Khyentse Choju Lodro. '51. Understand these. Oh, yeah. Understand these three to be fetters to samsara and obstacles to the gates of the city of liberation, adhering solely to morality and asceticism mistaken view of self-individuality and doubt. So Nagarjuna says, there are three things that practitioners should not do. And if practitioners indulge in these, engage in these, the door of liberation is closed for them. First one is Sultim Tulshuk Chogzin. Sultim Tulshuk Chogzin is this is a vast, very vast thing. It's not just how they translate here, adhering solely to morality and asceticism. It's one of those. There are those who think only morality is important. And they try to argue about morality. What is moral? What is like the what is it? Politicians do when it comes to their benefit. Not like that. Morality. And this kind of people doesn't necessarily have to be bad people. They can be very gentle too, very gentle, very sweet, but moral is so important, only moral. Their whole practice is morality. Not to kill, not to steal, not lie, no sexual conduct, no drinking. And they think this is all this is the most important thing. And now, of course, if they do this with a lot of arrogance, that's terrible. But even if they don't do this with a lot of arrogance, and then there are those who think that asceticism, strong, severe ascetic, I think ascetic or ascetic, I don't know, practice is sort of the path. Now there is other kinds of this kind of is you could be a very good monk and think I am a great monk. My discipline is very good. This is also the same. This one could be a very good yogi. You think I'm such a good yogi. My devotion is so good. I do my sadhana every day so well, like that. Yeah. Then the second one is having mistaken view towards your body. So being attached to one's own body, one's own beauty, and so on. The third one is having doubt towards ultimate truth, doubts towards karma, and so on. These three will hinder you from gaining liberation. Tarba thala rali dilani shenji to girjiya machi be the sudim something demba jila bebarju demba number shila bebarju is the good stanza to stop at. Since liberation depends on oneself and not on any help from others, cultivate the fourfold truth, the four noble truths. That's what it means. Through possessing study, morality, and concentration. So since no one can give us liberation, Buddhas can assist in it, but they cannot liberate us. So the only way liberation can happen is through self-liberation, realization, and for that you must practice the Four Noble Truths through hearing, contemplation, and meditation. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to stop here today. Thank you for to be able to talk about Dharma, be able to listen to Dharma, even have the wish to attend Dharma. This is really a result of a lot of merit. It could happen that after this life, for many, many lives, maybe 100 lives, maybe 100,000 lives, we do not even hear the name Buddha. There is no guarantee that in all of our lives we keep meeting Dharma. Once we fall into lower realms, Shantideva says, once we fall into lower realms, it seems near impossible to get out of it. Because at least in human realms, there is this understanding of no killing, no stealing. Even if you're not Dhamma practitioner, there's this kind of unwritten sort of law, no lying, you shouldn't lie, like there's this kind of thing that will be known to you if you're born as a human, even if you're not a Dhamma practitioner. There's a notion of ethic and discipline, notion of greater good. But once you're born like an ant or a toad or a tapir, you know what is a tapir? I was looking at it 4 days ago, I was looking at a tapir in a zoo. It's a beautiful animal, big, beautiful animal. I think they eat ants. So I was wondering, looking at that giant animal, how many kilos of ant they need in one day? And we were arguing, I was with some people and said, how many kilos? As we thought maybe at least 5 kilo of ant they need. Or 2 kilos, some say 2 kilos, fine, 2 kilo. How many ant is that? 100,000 ant? 200,000 ant? How many lives you need in one day to survive? So I don't know. It seems like once you don't have a human rebirth, the precious human body, or once you fall into lower realms, then it's very difficult to come out of it. Even the great Marpa Lotsava, the guru of Milarepa, the one who is supposed to be the emanation of He Vajra. Did you know that the Sakyapas think that they are the holder of He Vajra? Not really. Kajupas are also holders of He Vajra. They just now slowly moved away from He Vajra these days, which is sad. Marpa Lotsava was said to be an emanation of He Vajra. His wife was called Dhamema, Neratmaya. Even he, one day, when the great Atisha came to Tibet, so there was a gathering and Marpa and was sort of Atisha being a great master, sort of attending, and Marpa mentioned having Pawa Dongjuk, a very special kind of Pawa, transparent practice. And Atisha said, impossible, even my guru doesn't have this. Pawa Dongjuk is transferring your consciousness into another body. So to prove that, some monks found a dead calf, a dead animal, a dead calf, a baby cow, and they brought it, and Marpa Lotsava transferred his consciousness into that. So Marpa sort of fell, and the dead calf got up, started running around, eating grass. And so everybody believe it. Oh, he really can do poor Dongzhu. But now the cow is not coming back. Marpa is not coming back. The cow is eating grass and running around. And so the monks had to catch the cow and beg and say, Marpa, please remember your Marpa, and say this. And then finally that cow died and Marpa became alive. And Marpa said, oh, animal rebirth is just, it's like the darkness of ignorance is so strong that even I forgot who I was, he said. even I forgot. So once we fall into these realms, it's going to be very difficult. So right now, this very moment, even if you can do one Om Mani Padme Hum, one bout sort of compassion, think about those who are suffering in war, famine, drought, just anything, those who are killed for their flesh and bones and skin, and it's ridiculous how beings are killed. Some insects are killed because their body is red and is good for the lipstick, I hear. It's very, very red, beautiful red, you know. So I don't know. Life is sometimes so cheap. So think about that. I think even a moment that you can spend now you should also then dedicate into gaining a precious human rebirth. Okay. Please make dedication, and we will meet soon.
Thank you very much, Rinpoche.
Soon.
Thank you very much, Rinpoche.
Thank you very much.
Majepanam chepata, chepanam bameba, kong power show.
A través de esta virtud alcanzaré el estado del omnisciente y de este modo superaré todas las limitaciones. Pueda liberar a los seres del océano de la existencia cíclica, en donde las olas de nacimiento, vejez, enfermedad y muerte surgen violentamente.